on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And today we want to have a conversation about some of the stuff that's going on. First of all, I want to ask everybody in the chat, give me a yes or no if you've been checking out this chaos called the Milk Crate Challenge. How many of you, Jessica Hicks and Mansa Musa, I see you in here already, and the rest of you are coming in. Let me know if you've been watching this Milk Crate Challenge and what your thoughts are on this. My guests today are John Hennry Harris and Farmer Brown, the MC. And one of the things that we were talking about is that, that this Milk Crate Challenge seems almost kind of crazy. You got people climbing on it is happening like in the hood. Like somehow they it's like they planted the Milk Crate Challenge in our hood, like the way they planted crack cocaine. Like I ain't seeing no white people in the suburbs falling off milk crates, falling onto concrete. It's blowing my mind. And I want to ask y'all, man, because before I talk too much, because I'm sitting there kind of still flabbergasted as I think about it. Either one of y'all can answer. Is there like a rule in the Milk Crate Challenge that says that you must do it on concrete? Like you must have some surface that's literally going to kill you, or are you allowed to do it on something softer?
Well, as far as any rules are concerned, I think the only rules with the Milk Crate Challenge is that you can't use your hands to steady, and then you have to keep going, and it's summertime. But to me, it's like this little phenomenon started before the Milk Crate Challenge, the Crate Challenge. All these little challenges throughout social media, they're all, to me, very asinine. I mean, we are in very dire times right now. We are in very serious times. So I do understand on one hand how people, they look towards these challenges as maybe an escape or, something to get their mind off of their everyday struggles. But, here at B1 Ag, me and Farmer Brown, we like to be solution-based, just as you are with a lot of your content. We don't want to react to problems. We want to be proactive and avoid these problems using our intelligence. So we look at these milk crates, and these milk crates are actually excellent to use for growing food. You can line them with plastic, old clothes, T-shirts, burlap sacks, landscaping fabric. Put your dirt in there, and actually you got a cubic foot of growing space, which is key, because urban gardening and urban farming is going to be very important for us to avoid any tragedies that are looming with this food shortage and supply chain shortage that we're in the middle of. It's going to be key. And instead of using all these milk crates to climb your behind up there and break your arm or spleen or, bust your head open, let's take those same milk crates, turn them over, and put some dirt in there and grow some food.
Well, so let me ask you this, Farmer Brown, the MC, you're an expert on growing your own food. How much food can I really grow in a milk crate? Like, is that really? I mean, I believe John. I'm just curious to ask you. So, how much? I mean, can I really eat off of the amount of food I can grow in a milk crate?
Absolutely. And so, if we break it down, so every time you see one of those crates that's tumbling over, you think about how hard it is to get good arable land right now. Bill Gates, he's proven that this is where the bag is. And so when we're in areas where there isn't a lot of land, obviously using container gardening is a way to produce food. So each one of those crates you see, like he said, is a cubic square foot of garden space that can be filled with potting mix, potting soil. So doing my research on the challenge, because I'm not on TikTok, they take up to 25 to 49 crates to build this structure. So that's literally 25 to 49. I mean, you can grow tomatoes, peppers, leafy greens, cucumbers, pepper, all sorts of vegetables can be produced, because when you're doing gardening, you got to be specific as far as measuring. So within a square foot, I can get a very nice tomato plant. I can get a nice pepper plant that will supply multiple harvests of peppers, depending on the preparation that you put into it, which is, one of the things we actually focus on within the healthy black food is growing in containers. And so the gardener in me is just like, wow, every time I'm watching these crates fall, this is a food production receptacle to grow food in when we're living in communities where 8% of the melanated community live in a census tract with no supermarket or with a supermarket versus 31% of the white community lives in one with a supermarket. Meaning a lot of our people, some of us are cool. Some of us can go up the street to a grocery store, but a vast majority of the melanated community aren't close to a grocery store. What does this equate to? It equates to these pre-existing conditions, these underlying health issues that make us the prime candidates for a lot of experimentation going on. So like I said, you're not going to fill your whole year's worth of produce from these crates. But if you look at an individual, you, your wife, your family, the average individual eats 200 square feet worth of produce in a year. So if you're in a family of 4, that's 800 square feet. And so you're a mathematician. So say you got 50 of these crates, this is supplementing your diet. If you know you're in a community, because like you pointed out, a lot of these communities where these challenges are happening, I guarantee you there's a bodega. I guarantee you there's a convenient, a hood store up the street where, a lot of people are dependent on getting their food. And so I think a great formidable challenge would be, how can we take these crates, scrape the blood off, with, the blood people to shed on them and fill them up with burlap sacks and grow something.
Man, by the way, I'm talking to John Hennry Harris and Farmer Brown, the MC, and we're talking about the Milk Crate Challenge and really putting the Milk Crate Challenge in the context of everything else. As y'all know, on this platform, we're not here to just dwell in the nonsense. We're here to elevate the conversation. That's what real men do. And so everybody, as you come in, please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Please make sure you support this because we're building Black-owned media so we can elevate the conversation. So the Milk Crate Challenge, man, just speaking specifically about the Milk Crate Challenge, I think about you guys because, I don't want to mess up anybody's fun. And in fact, actually, to be honest with you, I ain't gonna lie. How many of y'all really actually got hypnotized watching Milk Crate Challenge videos? Say yes in the chat if you were like me and literally sat there watching these videos. I kept watching this Milk Crate thing, and I think I was just kind of like, okay, where did this come from? Who thought this was a good idea? Like, is anybody alarmed? Like I was like, okay, the Milk Crate Challenge needs to be changed into the Get Life Insurance Challenge. Because somebody gonna die and they ain't gonna have no insurance, and they're gonna end up somebody gonna have to have a GoFundMe to pay for their funeral, which to me is a terrible way for a man to go out. So everybody who's watching, if you really are serious about your life and care about your family, get insurance and don't do that damn Milk Crate Challenge. But when I see the Milk Crate Challenge, I hadn't even thought about it in terms of using the crates for growing food and things like that. And what I really see in general with a lot of these challenges, not just the Milk Crate thing, but a lot of stuff, I'm kind of like Mike Jones. Mike Jones in the chat says it's another distraction. And let me actually, I had him on the screen. I lost him. But anyway, there we go. There's Mike. And I agree. It's interesting to me. And I'd like to get your thoughts on this, John. Right now, Black people are going through a lot, right? A lot more, the Milk Crate Challenge is a self-imposed problem for the people that choose to climb on the milk crate and fall in ways that look like you're going to break your neck or break your back or whatever, right? But you really look around, right? Here's what's going on. I want to put the Milk Crate Challenge in context with what's happening in the Black community right now. I'll use an example just from yesterday. Yesterday, I had this professor on by the name of Dr. Christina Parks. How many of y'all saw the interview with Dr. Parks? Dr. Parks did that commentary, that excellent testimony about the pandemic and about what those shots can do to your body and things like that. And we had a good conversation. And YouTube banned the video within minutes. They banned it on one of the channels. It's still on drboycetv.com if you want to check it out. But they took it down on another platform. But that's why we put it in different places, And here's one of the things Dr. Parks brought up, that basically if you don't get that shot, there's going to come a time where you probably won't be able to get a job. And there's a lot of places you won't be able to go. You will not be able to move freely without going ahead and signing up for the shot. Now, I'm not telling people to do it or not to do it. But it's like we're kind of going to the space of what I would call economic apartheid, where Black folks are starting to get shut out of things, even more than we're shut out already. And you also the other backdrop to that is you have food and water shortages all over the country, supply chain issues happening right now. You have global instability that's occurring, just for various reasons. It could pop off at any moment. And you really, when you see that guy that grown ass man with 3 kids who at 30 years old who's deciding to do the milk crate challenge, you really wonder, like, is he going to be able to survive if the stuff really hits the fan? You know, like, is he ready? Is he prepared? You know, when just economic apartheid alone, the fact that black people are going to get blocked out of jobs. I mean, I took a survey with the people on this platform. I think 75 to 80% of the people on this platform have not gotten that shot. So that means they locked out of the economic system, which means that do for self is not an option anymore. That is mandatory. So you're either going to have to get the mandatory shot, or you got to get the other mandatory vaccine, which is the ability to do for self. Right, John, what do you think? I mean, do you think that people are aware of this, or do you think that people are just going to let the whole world fall apart and then cry about it afterward because we didn't spend our time preparing?
Well, that's why, I'm very glad to be a part of, this platform, because I don't want to see our people crying about what's going on after the fact. Again, it's always better to get ready and stay ready than have, to be ready than have to get ready. And with these, we're facing a lot of challenges right now. I mean, real life challenges. It's crazy. Like when New York City, when they announced their mandates that you had to have, this the shot before, to go to restaurants and things like that, and even maybe possibly even public transportation. That same night, literally like within an hour after announcing that, they had the big versus challenge with the Locks and Dipset. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's mind-boggling how these distractions always come about after the announcement of something so important to life. This milk crate challenge, again, as we're talking about economic apartheid, it's already happening. There are a lot of jobs that are already like, if you don't get this shot, you can't work here, or we're going to impose these fines. Even look at the NFL. Cam Newton just lost his job, and they say, and a lot of people are saying that it came down to it. He refused to get vaccinated. This rookie quarterback, he performed well, but you got the rookie quarterback who is vaccinated versus Cam Newton, a proven veteran who isn't. So, who can you trust? It's a big thing. And when it comes to food production, I don't think that, and this is what my major hope is, that it becomes more normalized, it becomes a bigger conversation about our food, where our food system is going, and how can we make sure that we are food secure, because it is at attack. Our ways, our routes to make money are being attacked. So when this happens, the ability to do for self becomes that much more important. And at the foundation of that, which is the foundation of civilization, is one's ability to secure, procure, and food.
Well, I think it's a good point. And Farmer Brown, I want to ask you about this. I mean, I forgot about Cam Newton. In fact, I'll ask you about it in the audience before I pass this ball to you, Farmer Brown. Cam Newton, how many of y'all saw that Cam Newton lost his job with the Patriots? And that the media reports, one of the media reports was claiming that the desire to not get that shot is part of the reason that he didn't get the job, or that he didn't keep the job. And they gave it to the white boy from Alabama, who's a solid quarterback. I don't think he's as good as Cam Newton, but he's not bad. And then, in fact, I got a call literally the day before yesterday from somebody that had a real important job with the NFL that was more in the performance space. This person is with Rock Nation, and they also had a situation where they were about to be paid a lot of money to do something, and that contract got taken away due to the policy, right? So black folks, it's happening to black folks. So, and these are the people at the top of the food chain. This is Cam Newton. These are famous entertainers. If that's happening to them, what do you think is going to happen to the little guy, the guy that works at UPS or Kroger or whatever? So Farmer Brown, what did you think? I mean, when you see, one thing that's interesting to me, man, I want to ask you about this because I know you know a lot about food and health. I found it really fascinating that when they talk about ways to deal with viruses and pandemics, they talk a lot about what shot that they want you to get, but they don't talk nothing about what food you're supposed to eat, how you're supposed to take care of your body. None of that. They just talk about put this thing in your body, and no matter how much poison you're consuming, it's gonna make the poison go away. What do you think about that?
I've been waiting for the mandate that people get vouchers to go to farmers markets. I've been waiting for the tracers to come to people's doors and see if they're getting enough produce, and if not, connecting them with local farmers. So I've been waiting for all of these teams. Like you said, it seems like to promote a health crate, since we have hospitals that we're told are filled up. Why would you promote an activity where people are getting hurt? This is almost promoting destructive behavior. But when we talk about this perfect storm of events, once again, with this bread and circus, what are we being distracted from, as Mr. Jones said? So right now we have tens of thousands, if not more, people coming from overseas. Irrespective of what they look like, we know typically these people are the ones that run the corners. They get sent to brown neighborhoods, in the words of the elder Neely Fuller. And so we're going into the winter. Not to get biblical, in the Bible even talks about woe be unto those that give suck in those days. There's a lot of correlations that people talk about with the juice. I'm like you, I'm not here to give any medical advice, but when it comes to solutions, there are things we can produce in the winter, such as lettuce, arugula, spinach, kale, cherry tomatoes, peppers. These are things that can be grown indoors, growing vertically with some of these crates that we see people tumbling over. But like I said, so these people are coming in the country now. Right now, the guy occupying the White House needs some wins. Over the last few years, I have to put my tinfoil kufi on just a little bit. The melanated family has been speaking up about reparative justice. And so if you're a farmer and your farmer is surrounded by 400 cows and you realize you don't have enough feed, and working out on a research farm, I know if you go a couple of days without feeding these cows, they become very irate. And so your house is surrounded by these angry livestock. I think we were classified as 3/5 of a human in the original Constitution. So what do? Do I want to make sure you're good and healthy, even though I don't have enough food to feed you, but I want to make sure that you're good and healthy? And so I think these are some things to think about. But once again, coming from a solution base, we can grow. You don't have to be a professional farmer, a master gardener to put a seed in the ground, to start some seeds indoors. This is very practical. This is not pie in the sky that's hitting Chicken Little, the sky is falling. No, you're not going to produce your whole year's worth of food in your apartment or on your balcony or in your backyard. But when we talk about cooperative economics, hey, I got enough space in my space to grow the tomatoes. Hey, you got enough space over there to grow the herbs and garlic. Because right now, one of the largest food wholesalers, Cisco, said that the demand is much higher than what they're able to supply. From the top, they're telling us exactly what's going on. And so I feel like every one of these distractions that's happening, it's almost like a fight or flight mechanism. And it's distressful to see, so many people taking this flight mechanism of, okay, I just don't want to think about it, because we are coming into the winter. Heaven forbid, I know right now there's 700 colleges that are mandating this juice. And so some parents are going to have some kids coming back home, back to the empty nest. I work at a university. We ain't got that message yet, but it lies in the back of my mind. I got 2-year-olds. So once again, Farmer Brown's growing. So when I'm talking about this growing, I practice what I preach. But this is something, like you said, we need to mandate it.
And also, I would just like to add, when it comes to fighting this pandemic, beetroot juice raises your nitric oxide levels, which helps boost your immune system. Garlic is another thing that activates your nitric oxide levels to help you fight sickness. Leafy greens, they help you from the kale, broccoli, cabbage, spinach, arugula, celery. They're packed with nitrates that help boost your immune system. Citrus fruits, high in vitamin C, oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruit. They're all excellent sources of vitamin C. Nuts and seeds, almonds, cashews, walnuts, chia seed, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. They have amino acids that assist in the production of nitric oxide. That taking that juice, that jab, is not the only way to fight this sickness. Food is medicine. Food is medicine. Food is medicine.
Fact
Well,
checkers co-sign that.
Let me jump in too, and also first of all, I want to mention who I'm speaking with. I'm speaking with John Hennry Harris and Farmer Brown, the MC, and they do a show on the Black Boss channel that's all about agriculture, growing your own food, and everything else, and everything. A lot of things happening in our community, and they actually teach people how to grow their own food. If you want to take a look and get a free trial on their program, you can go to healthyblackfood.com. That's the URL on the screen, healthyblackfood.com. And also I want to mention this. I'm looking in the chat and I can't delete this, but I want everybody to know that there is apparently, I guess this is what happens when you get a bigger platform. There's like these scammers, these imposters that come in and pretend to be you. And so there's literally a guy in the chat that's telling everybody to inbox you or inbox him, right? And he looks like me. He took my profile picture. I even changed my profile picture on my main Facebook page to try to make it a little bit harder for the scammers, but they're not going to go away. So if you see somebody, I want everybody to know this. I want to make sure you know this. Give me a yes if you hear this and if you're going to do this for me. If you see anybody reach out to you that looks like me that says, "Hey, inbox me," and I try to give you a WhatsApp number and get you to sign up for some crypto or something, report that person. Please report that person. So give me a yes if you know that. And the reason I have to take time to mention that is because people have gotten scammed in this platform. Literally, I think one lady lost $5,000 because she thought that I was reaching out and telling her to inbox me and sending her these secret messages. I can't send no women secret messages. I got a wife now. That ain't gonna fly. So ladies, don't expect me to be creeping into your DMs. I'm not rolling like that. I'm not trying to get caught up in no nonsense. All right. So with that said, let me ask you guys I'll throw the ball back to you, John. So just going back to the whole thing, I was really tripping out over just that, like kind of what's happening with the society in terms of, I like what you were saying about other ways to fight against viruses other than just getting a shot. Because if you think about it, right, it's one of these things where no matter what you think about the jab or not getting a jab, I really promise everybody here, I really want you to make the right decision. I don't even know what the right decision is. I personally have gone back and forth. I got family members that go one way, some that go another way. And the scary part to me is that they all make sense, but they all don't make sense. Like they all, to me, it's like, yeah, it's just a little shot. Who cares? But then I'll see something else that'll say, no, here's some long-term implications that can happen and things that haven't been tested out properly. And every couple months they're telling us, like, oh, well, we just found out that that thing we thought that was going to protect you, oh, it really don't protect you. Oh, we just found out, remember we said that you can't transmit it to anybody, oh, you can transmit it to other people. Oh, we just found out that remember when we said that you won't be hospitalized, oh, well, there's a few people in the hospital that got that shot, and then they're like, oh, but we got another shot, we got a better shot, right? And we tested it for the last 4 weeks. We got, it makes you very nervous, right? So here's where I'm going with, and I'm gonna stop talking, Nick. I'll pass the ball to John. Look, I know a lot of people who caught that virus, right? I'm not even gonna say the word because the YouTube bots are always watching. Most of the people I know who caught it, the people I know personally, 1 degree of separation, all of them healed. Every one of them healed. Now, I did hear about people that were maybe 1 or 2 degrees of separation, like a friend of a friend who didn't make it. But the overwhelming majority of people, my daughter, she's my goddaughter, but she's my daughter, if y'all know what I mean. She got it while she was pregnant. And she has asthma. And so, of course, I'm concerned. But you know what happened? She felt bad for about 3 days, and then she got better. And I think that it seems to be the norm. So my question would be, it seems to me that what you're saying makes sense because most people fight off the virus and they're okay. Most people are. So even if you get it, you're probably not going to die. Now, Lena says her uncle died from it. And my heart goes out to your uncle, and I'm not in any way belittling that tragedy, but but literally based on the data, if 1,000 people get it, 1 or 2 might die. That person's usually an older person or a person with some health issues. So I'm not even gonna frame it as a question. What are your thoughts based on what I said? I just said a lot. I didn't mean to talk so much, but I'd like to get your thoughts on just anything that I just said.
Well, it's been just a little over a year. Last June, I actually caught it, and I was down for a month, and since it was actually at the beginning of the pandemic or whatever, They did not send me to the hospital. They were like, okay, go home for 2 weeks, and when you're ready to come back to work, let us know. There was no plan, no medicines, nothing like that given. I had to resort to my own devices, which I used. I was eating. Thank goodness for my family. They were bringing bags of oranges. At the time I was working at a nursing home, so I had got some zinc. Zinc is very key, in building your immune system. Aspirin, it helps to thin your blood to improve circulation. So taking aspirin and zinc daily, and eating those oranges, not drinking orange juice, eating oranges, and drinking a lot of water, and also making sure that I did sit out in the sun at least, just to get that natural vitamin D from the sun. These are things, natural remedies that will help. Now, I will also say that although I feel blessed to have survived it, I have had family members that have passed from it. Actually, last week, my class president from high school just passed from it. And it was a thing where it's like, okay, one day she's diagnosed and 4 or 5 days later she's gone. This is the thing about this, what we're facing is it is a constantly mutating sickness. It's been constantly mutating since day one. So even if you go to get, your medicine for this, it's already mutated. So you're actually getting, a remedy for something that's no longer there. And the reason why you keep getting, okay, well, this, now we find out, and now we find out this, and now we find out that, is because there hasn't been long-term clinical studies. Everybody who's taking this getting medicated now, you are the study. You are the study. And that's why I wish people can just use their common sense and understand that you are the study, because they don't know. And also, there's never a blanket remedy for anything. Everybody reacts differently to different things. Some people, like you say, your daughter, she was sick for 3 days and was fine. I was down for a whole month. Then you have other people that have to get put on a respirator. What I'm saying? People, your makeup and your individual situation is going to determine, what happens. And there's no blanket, outcome. There's no blanket remedy. There's nothing absolute when dealing with this. This is, it's different. This is something different, because again, this is a mutating virus.
I'm trying to figure out too, Farmer Brown. I know you're not a medical expert, but this is just an open question, and maybe there's research out here that can answer for me. But I've never understood why, if I got my shot and my shot protects me, why do I care if you got it or not? Why should I be afraid of you? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. If I got, if I'm protected against cooties and you didn't get cooties protection, why am I worried about catching your cooties unless the protection that I allegedly have did not work? It's almost like I want to pull you into the same pot with me just because I'm offended that you don't agree with what I'm telling you to do. I don't understand, because the idea of discriminating against a person who did not get the shot is, to me, an admission that your shot does not protect you anyway. So what did you get the shot for? Right? What does it do? And then I think I saw somebody that said, well, it means that if you get it, you won't get as sick. I think the data is kind of refuting that. I think a lot of those people are getting very sick. And then they're saying like, well, it means that if you got the shot, you're not as likely to pass it. No, the data is refuting that too, right? Especially when you're talking about variants, right? And what really threw me off was when Dr. Christina Parks came in. And it really made me sad that YouTube banned her video, because, I mean, the woman has a PhD in cell biology from the University of Michigan. she came to be written off as a quack. And she actually said that if you get a shot that protects you against one variant, that a new variant will have an easier time invading your system because you got the shot. I don't know about you, but that scared the hell out of me. What do you think, Farmer Brown?
I mean, so if I was investing in or had stake in the company making these remedies, I think I would be making a nice penny, so to speak. But I think your vice president said that's be good to your neighbor. When we think about, okay, are we doing the healthiest things? And so where I live at, we just had a festival, 35,000 people. And you think about this concept, problem, reaction, solution. So 35,000 people. It was they weren't able to get water, so they're out there dehydrated. You were supposed to be able to show your card, proof that you've been treated. And I spoke to multiple people that got in and were given fake cards. And so I've seen on the news over the past few weeks that these cards, to get caught with one, it will be a federal offense if it's a false one. So you think about, so saying that to say, in my mind, okay, a few months down the road, this leads to, well, since there's so many people with these fraudulent cards, maybe we need a more personal way to verify that you've had this. And like Gates said, we're going to keep having viruses. They're going to keep coming back. And so once again, the game, they're going to be, when I say they, I mean the stakeholders who stand to make the most out of it. I mean, let's just be honest. We're in a capitalist society. Money talks. We understand there's a lot of people that want to get out, have a good time. I get it. People have been locked down for a year and a half. But within that, I think a lot of people, not just with the shots, I think there's a lot of people that are going along with things that I don't think they understand the long-term effects of what that's going to do to civil liberties, what that's going to do to freedom. Right now in Australia, literally, I remember about 20 years ago, you heard the concept of FEMA camps and all of that. Oh, that's Hotep. That's conspiracy theory. But right now in Australia, they literally have camps, and it's under the auspice of, okay, the hotels. We have people flying in internationally. The hotels, we don't have enough beds for them. So we'll make this little nice 1,000-bed camp for you. And I encourage the intelligent Black folks on this network right now to just look at what's going on in Australia. No, this planet is a big body. So what affects my toe is, have you ever stubbed your toe? It throws your whole body balance off, right? And so whatever's happening somewhere else, it is a possibility, always a possibility that it could happen to where we're at. So our whole point with B1 Ag and the whole conversation we have is there's something up. What are the solutions? Some of these plants we mentioned, you can grow them from harvest from 25 to 60 days. What are we in August right now, going into September? We really need to be thinking about what does November, December going into January look like. We think about what happened to Texas earlier this year. There's a lot of unpredictable, climactic events happening. We see the political jargon going on. We see the political games going on. So it comes a point, we throw this word code around, and just in my personal modest mind, I feel like our food security is one thing that all of us can get on code on. Tying it back to this milk crate challenge, are we as a community care enough about this to challenge those same people with those crates to fill those crates up with some food, with some soil, with some seeds, with some transplants? Are we talking with each other, getting seed exchanges and seed banks to prepare just in case? Because I think what'd you say, 75% of your viewers in the poll you did said they're not with it. That's pretty much the number I heard nationally.
70%.
70%. What does that mean when your restaurants, and I hate to prattle, but like you said, okay, do you care about the health? Because we know right about now it's almost a 50-50 split of people who haven't gotten or people who haven't gotten both. And so you're willing to starve out half of the people who are skeptical by saying you can't go in this restaurant or possibly can't go in this gym to get healthy. You're willing to starve them out to keep them healthy. And so once again, we look at the context of is all of this about our health, or is it about something else? I mean, there's a million conspiracy theories, but the one theory that is always true is that if we eat, that is the first line of defense in any sort of health attack.
And this is very accessible information when it comes to foods that will help boost your immune system. This food is medicine. It is your first line of defense. Now, I would like to say this when in response to being medicated. It's funny. They talked to the CEO of Pfizer and asked him if he had been medicated. Matter of fact, He said five, and then if you look and you see they're making it to where you can't work in a lot of places, or they're fining you, or they're making you choose between getting medicated or your ability to earn money to support yourself. Does Moderna require their employees to get medicated? No. Does Johnson & Johnson require their employees to get medicated? No. Does Pfizer require their employees to get medicated? No. All these companies that make this supposed thing that's going to help us and keep us safe, they don't even require their own employees to take it. Yet they are mandating that for us. That alone raises so much suspicion for me, because I know the Tuskegee experiment was not that long ago. And I also know from history that since when did they care about us so much? They didn't want to help us when we got so many other things that are plaguing our communities that they have not done anything about. They're not even helping our veterans that have fought and served for our country. They're allowing them to become homeless and disparaged in the streets. So now, it's we got to be smarter than that. You can't always rely on someone else for your solutions. Do your own research. What we do know is that there are foods that boost your immune system. So what keeps you, what's just common knowledge and what's most practical? Do things that keep your immune system as high and as healthy and as vibrant as it can get. And you can Google this information.
Everybody, I'm speaking with John Hennry Harris and Farmer Brown, the MC, and we're talking about a lot of things. We started out talking about the Milk Crate Challenge, which is the big distraction, the weapon of mass distraction. And then we dug into a lot of stuff that's going on in the background. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So I hope everybody will take 1 second and please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. We're trying to build Black media, and I don't mind talking about this pandemic and what's going on with these viruses, even though I can tell y'all I got hell from YouTube over this. I put up the testimony of Dr. Christina Parks, who testified in Michigan, the PhD in cellular and molecular biology. And YouTube took it down as medical misinformation. And we appealed and said, she was testifying before legislators. She's a PhD from University of Michigan. How is this medical misinformation? And they put it back up. But then I interviewed Dr. Parks yesterday, and I interviewed her. I put the interview on a couple of channels, drboycetv.com and yourblackworldtv.com, because I prepared years ago. Remember, we were telling you guys, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So we already know that being extra Black means you're going to be under attack. Right. We know that. Right. Being Black means you're under attack. So we were always thinking, what if they take this down to take that down? Because they took down a Facebook page I had a long time ago. They had 600,000 people on it. They just took it down for no reason. Like I think I quoted Malcolm X or something, and they took it down and didn't give me any explanation why. So we've always been kind of prepared for this. And so at this point, it's like, to me, it's a matter of principle in terms of just saying, let's get the information to our people, whatever that might be. So they took the video down on one channel, but it is still up on drboycetv.com if anybody wants to watch it. And I want to show y'all something. Just speaking of capitalism, I know one of the issues that Dr. Parks had with this whole conversation about the virus and getting that juice, as John calls it. And we were talking about how capitalism works and how when that money grab gets real big, the incentives can get a little bit funny, right? You can get a little bit nervous about incentives. And let me show you a little story. Let me tell you a little story about a stock I bought. I think at the beginning of last year, right before the pandemic, called Moderna. I bought some Moderna stock. Moderna stands for mode RNA. That's where it came from, because when they give you that shot, they're doing something to the DNA that's literally shifting your DNA. That's at least that's what I've been reading. I'm not a scientist, so don't quote me, but that's where Moderna comes from. Now, here's Moderna stock. It's been literally one of the best stocks in my portfolio. We bought it maybe around I say we bought it about maybe here about $31 a share. Now you see here in that last since that time, Moderna stock has gone up to $413 a share. You could have bought Moderna in 2019 for $19 a share. Now the other graphic on so Moderna stock has shot through the roof. And what happens with companies is when they go from making no money to making a lot of money, the pressure is there to continue. It's like if you come into the NBA and you a scrub and they expect you to give them 5 points a game off the bench, but yet you start averaging 40 points a game, Well, after that, you go out, you score 28. They're gonna say, what happened? Like that was a bad game, right? As you perform, the expectations grow. That's what happens with these companies, and that's why I'm worried about Moderna making so much money from these shots, because now they're gonna say, okay, what's your next shot? What's your next gimmick? What's gonna be your next thing you're gonna sell? They're not gonna go back to saying, oh, well, we think the public doesn't need it, or we have these concerns. Capitalism doesn't work that way. Let me show you another graphic with this company called Moderna's, aka Mode RNA. Let's look at Moderna's income, and I want you to look at how Moderna was doing. We talk about starting from the bottom. Now we're here. Look at Moderna's income in September 2020. This is as far back as I could go. You see here, their revenue was about 157 million. Net income was negative 233 million. So at this point, literally, what is this? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Here we go. In September 2020, they were losing money. They were losing $250 million. They lost $250 million per quarter. So that's about $1 billion a year. That's a lot of money to lose. Now you fast forward up to June 2021. Moderna made 4.35 billion in revenue, and their net income went from negative 233 million to positive 2.78 billion. Right. Wow. So before they made 1.22 billion in the first quarter this year, they made 2.78 billion in the second quarter this year. Now, the reason I'm concerned about that is because money is a drug. Like getting money at that level in a capitalist system, it really is like hitting a crack pipe. You don't go backwards from that. You really, so Moderna is making a lot of money, and these companies are making tens of billions of dollars on these shots. And I know that means it's not going to go away. They're always going to be like, well, here's a booster shot. Here's another shot. Take this shot. Take that shot. And I'm really not sure if they've really taken the time necessary to really know if this works. I mean, a lot of doctors have said this to me. So let me, so now that I've said all these things, I feel like Farmer Brown, I feel like now is a time where, as Black people, we have to kind of figure out where we want to be in all this, right? It seems to me that when you talk about things like do for self, for years we've been talking about, we believe in what we call the Black Core 3. We believe Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black business, right? And then with that do for self comes a lot of things that you talk about, like growing your own food, and then you connect that to things like learning how to shoot, like my friend Maj Toure. That's why we invited him to the All Black National Convention. We invited you guys. Buy your own land. We got Julian Gordon coming to the convention to talk about real estate ownership, learning how to build on that land, just learning survivals. That's why we got Dr. Claude Anderson coming through, Dr. Chalmers coming through talking about health. We have a lot of people that are on this issue, and I feel like now is the time. Like now is the time where we really have to start thinking seriously about that, just that whole do for self thing, and it's not a fringe thing anymore. It almost seems like it's going to be a way of life for millions of people. What do you think, Farmer Brown?
Dr. Boyce, I have to put a shameless plug for Healthy Black Food. In the last 3 weeks, my children have been in daycare for about 8 months now. And in the last 3 weeks, the first week was RSV. It's a respiratory virus. We had to take them out, a whole bunch of the kids sick. Literally the next week, we took them out for a week. Then the next week, we took them back. 2 of the classrooms popped up with COVID. And so, I'm not mad. I like having the kids home personally. But saying that to say, I represent one out of hundreds of thousands or millions of households who we're coming into some, because I'm not cool with the idea of my kids being experimented on, if you understand what I'm saying. And so when we think about the Black Business School, when we think about, okay, we're really going to have to revisit what education looks like, because there's here in Kentucky, there is a lot of contention about the mask wearing. And so one week I watched my daughter, she's cool. She thinks it's cute with the little mask, but my son wasn't with it. I watched him knock his little mask on the ground, and I'm thinking, the germs. And so it's literally not sustainable. So saying that to say right now, when we're thinking about ways to educate, what to educate our children about, starting food, to learning how to grow food, whether you get it from healthyblackfood.com or, Lead Farmer, Corey, Goo, What to Do, any of the content creators right now, other than the people doing crate challenges. These are great things that are, these aren't like one-time assignments. Like I said, if you're growing indoors, you can have a harvest with 25 to 60 days, depending on what it is you're growing. These are formidable activities for kids. My 2-year-olds, Dr. Boyce, every time they come home, they know to water the garden. It is a habit to them. They don't know how to talk yet, but I make sure the little pitchers are outside. I make sure I pour a little water in it. because they see mom and dad working in the garden. It is lifestyle. And so by the time they get old enough to understand the words, the behavior has already been embedded. This can be done wherever you're at. I'm not a huge farmer. I'm a gardener, right? I'm an extension agent. So it's not like I'm just this great professional, but I understand the value, and I understand, okay, the way I was raised and went to school and educated isn't going to be the same as my children. You've stressed your love for children and your love for education. And so I know you saw the writing on the wall a long time ago that the way people learn is changing. That's why, like the sister Vicky Diller says, this is our finest hour. Because right now, whatever we put our mind to, whatever we choose to do, I don't see that there's any force around this planet that can stop us. But it comes from that, can we keep from being distracted by milk crate challenges and, ratchet things, and really focus on doing what it was that made our ancestors strong in the first place. And that's building a civilization based around, okay, we can make our food right here. So now we can explore the arts. Now we can explore entertainment. Now we can go to other lands and trade what we have an excess of. And it was the mastery of producing food. Literally, all economies started with, hey, I have excess of what I produce where I'm at. I learned how to extract it from the natural environment. Now I can run up the road, run up the river, run up Turtle Island, wherever I want to go to and trade with you. And so once again, it's getting black to the garden, black to the essence. And I feel like the writing's on the wall. It's like sink or swim. Either y'all going to do it or you're not. Answering your question about the financial incentive. No, if I'm making billions, why would I stop? Why would I? What is my incentive? Because y'all are mad because y'all ain't get reparations? Well, I got what I got because y'all haven't got your reparations. So what is my incentive to give up what I'm doing? Power doesn't stop for weakness. Power only respects power. So when I say we, I don't mean utopian, just all holding hands. A critical mass of us realize only 8% of us are cool. 8% of us live within a formidable distance to a grocery store versus 31% of the other side. So saying that to say, I feel like that is a legitimate goal for us to shoot for. What if we can get 250,000 young melanated 3rd through 5th graders to start their first garden in the fall of 2021? Is that possible?
Yeah, I think it is. What do y'all think? You think it's possible for us to get our kids committed to growing their own food and learning the basics of what it means to eat healthy and things like that? I mean, I really think I like talking to these guys because y'all expand my thinking. I always thought a lot about the economic survivalism, but there's also the real survivalism. And I know Dr. Claude Anderson talks about it a lot. And by the way, everybody, Dr. Claude Anderson, along with these brothers, are going to be at the All Black National Convention at the end of October. There's a URL if you want to get your early bird tickets. Today's the last day to get the super early bird discount. And we're going to be in Orlando talking about all this stuff and having serious conversations with serious people, making serious plans on how to survive. So feel free to join us in Orlando if you're interested. The URL's on the screen. But I know Dr. Anderson talks a lot about, John, he talks a lot about the fact that we are getting to a point where there are going to be food and water shortages. You see it happening all the time. You see people talking about it. And then, you're throwing in the curveball of what's going on with the pandemic and just the consistent economic isolation of Black people that's already occurring anyway. And I just think it's going to get to the point where it almost seems like it's going to be sink or swim, that it's only going to get worse. And if you're ready to submit to the system, I guess you could do that. But if you're trying to take a stand, you're going to have to pick up some different skill and kind of think a little bit outside the box. So I'll let you guys get the last word. So John, did you have any other thoughts on anything I said or anything you wanted to add to that?
I just encourage our people to growing your own food is a great foundation to have for survival. You can check out me and Farmer Brown with B1 Ag at the Black Boss channel. We do have a program to teach you how to grow your own food at healthyblackfood.com. Our program is designed for the family. This is something that you can do with your children. We present it in a way that's fun. We present this information in a way that is practical. We also present this information in a way that will make sure that you are food secure. We're talking about survival skills. This is growing your own food, and having that skill of being able to grow your own food is exactly what it says, a skill. a survival skill. And these survival skills are becoming more and more needed in the days to come. You think about it. I don't want to get too preachy, but they're saying if you don't get these mandates, that they're affecting your ability to buy and sell. What does that sound like to you? They're restricting your ability to move about, unless you have this card or you can pull up this app on your phone to prove something. These events are things that were spoken of and written about thousands and thousands of years ago. If we don't pay attention to what's blatantly in our face and keep getting distracted by these silly things, well, by the time the truth truly rears its ugly head, it's going to be too late, because we're going to be caught pointing and looking at somebody on a milk crate instead of seeing that they've taken all the milk.
Well, Farmer Brown, I was looking online at the food that they said you should buy in case there is a food shortage. I know people keep talking about it, and you never know when things are going to change. And I liked what you said earlier about capitalism. You said if I was making $1 billion, why would I stop? And you think about that, right? You're making $1 billion producing whatever you want medically, whether it's good or bad, you don't care because you're making your money. That's how the opioid crisis came about. Opium was very profitable because the best product is the one that your customer's addicted to. Just ask any dope dealer, they'll tell you that. And then also we've made, if you ask, why did the Afghanistan war go on for 20 years? When we were building an artificial army that was going to fall apart in a second, a fake government, all this other stuff, killing people. Well, it's because people were making money. A lot of companies were making billions of dollars making weapons and whatever. And once this war is done, they're going to start another one, right? Because money's being made. So this really speaks to this idea that there are people in power that will continue to do toxic things if it's profitable, period. And also, I'm gonna read this list to you. I found this. I went to this site called TuckPenny'sFireplace.com. So they didn't give any. This is not scientific. This is a list of things that they said you should buy, and you should stockpile in case there's a food shortage. So this is something just for the survivalists in the room. They said you should get flour, rice, noodles, beans, dried and canned, different varieties, lentils, oats, pasta of different shapes, white and whole wheat, sugar, white, brown, soft brown, dark brown, vegetable oil, olive oil, powdered milk, salt, baking powder, baking soda, spices and herbs, cans of soup, cans of vegetables, dried fruit, cans of protein, peanut butter, and a variety of nuts. What do you think about that list, Farmer Brown? How do you feel about that?
I think the list is cool, but I went to Walmart the other day to get some water for my mother. And I mean, I'm talking about the whole frozen meat and frozen meal section was empty. They had a little bit of meat in the meat section, but I mean, each row I went to was empty. I'm not a person, I don't just sit up waking up like, oh my God, something has to be wrong. I don't wake up looking for problems, but this is the first time I've gone in any of these stores and they were visibly just empty, like nothing in the rows. So saying that to say, I think it is. That's my daughter.
Uh-oh. Well, I think you scared them with all the bad news.
So they cool. They cool. They have no clue about what's going on right now. But saying that to say, I definitely think growing food, especially getting started now in the fall to prepare for the winter, some of the short harvest crops, like I said, like your greens, your tomatoes, your peppers, things like that, different herbs. Start that now just to get your hands in it, to get an idea of what this looks like, to prepare for whatever the spring may bring to us. Personally, they said this virus was the cure for the flu. I think this virus can be the cure for our Stockholm syndrome. The truth is very powerful, and once it's in your face, you're left with a decision, sink or swim. And so I think this is the perfect opportunity. I mean, our kids are being forced out of school because of a sickness. And so, as parents, what are we going to do with all of this time on our hands? It's not like there's no one set curriculum. So let us create one of literally growing food, growing minds, growing businesses. in that order.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. This is real cool, and I have had a great time in this conversation. Everybody, just so you know who we've spoken with, this was John Hennry Harris and also Farmer Brown, the MC, and they actually show people how to grow their own food. In fact, when I mentioned Farmer Brown to my wife, she didn't even tell me that she had actually learned how to grow potatoes in a bucket from Farmer Brown. I didn't even know that she even knew about the brother. I'd known about him, but we never talked about it. And so he's very good at what he does, and John is too, and they are a great duo in terms of giving you what you need. So if you're interested, you want to try out their program or learn more, go to healthyblackfood.com. And also, I want everybody to know at the All Black National Convention this year, we are taking a strong interest in Black survivalism. Not extremely radical, but really, thinking about what does do for self really look like, and how do you implement do for self. So the people that we've invited, a lot of the ones that we've gotten to sign on to come down are people that fit in that category. A lot of y'all know about that brother, King Randall, the young 20-year-old brother that went out and bought all that land down in Georgia. And he stood up against Roland Martin when they were trying to attack him. And this brother built his own school in a matter of weeks, and he's getting it done. Julian Gordon, who's one of the great real estate experts in this country, the great Dr. Claude Anderson is going to join us via satellite. His health isn't that strong, but he wants to be there. So we're going to bring him in through video. And by the way, Dr. Anderson's birthday is tomorrow. And I think that this week should be Powernomics week. I think we should declare it and own it and just make that what it is. So his birthday is tomorrow. He'll be 86 years old. Also, we got Dr. Charm and Farmer Brown, and John will be there and doing a session on how to grow your own food. Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter, he's coming through. Also, family. Family is really important for building wealth. So I got John Boyd, the father of Victory Boyd, who's the famous singer, who's such a great singer. She's so great that Jay-Z signed her. Jay-Z heard her sing, signed her to Rock Nation right on the spot. Like she wrote songs on Kanye's last album. So her father is B1. He's very committed to the Black family, and all his children have a business together. They work together. And he said, there's a blueprint for that. There's a way you build that. There's a way you create that. So I said, will you come to the convention and teach that to others? He said, absolutely. So we got a lot of good people. And that's just the beginning. I mean, I'm talking about the rapper Akila Nahanda. Y'all seen her. She's been killing it on the internet. Nuri Muhammad from the Nation of Islam, Vicky Dillard, Jay Morrison. The list goes on and on and on. There's a lot of builders that are coming to the convention. And so if you're into that thing, if that's your thing, I want you to bring your family, bring your church group, bring your cousin, bring your baby mama. We got stuff for families, kids, singles, married, business owners, whatever. Come down end of October 29th through November 1st in Orlando, allblacknationalconvention.com. That's the URL. All right, guys. Thank you very much to our guests. Please give them a digital round of applause. John Hennry Harris and Farmer Brown, the MC. Thank you, brothers. And I'm going to put their URL so you guys can go follow and check out what they're doing at healthyblackfood.com. So God bless everybody. Thank you. Please have a great day. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Peace.